Hello and welcome to this WatchOut version 6 overview. My name is Fredrik Svanberg. I'm Marketing Director at DATATON. And if you could spare a few minutes of your time, I will tell you all about the most significant WatchOut upgrade ever. I know that some of you are familiar with WatchOut, but for those of you who visit us for the first time, let me give you a quick introduction. WatchOut is a multi-display presentation system for a very wide variety of applications. You typically use WatchOut to create digital scenography for big events, but also for exhibitions in museums and in digital signage, etc. You mix media, video, graphics, live feeds across multiple displays arranged in any layout, with or without overlap, separate screens, angle screens, anything is possible. And each of the media elements remain independent and can be manipulated in real time, which allows for quick changes, of course, but also for live interaction and external control from, for example, a mobile device or a traditional control system. And it doesn't matter if your project has 2 or 200 screens. WatchOut is fully scalable and it supports any number of screens or projectors at any resolution. And still, with all these possibilities, one of the greatest features is that WatchOut is super easy to use. It is the most user-friendly and cost-effective media server on the market today. Okay, now I will move on to the new features in WatchOut version 6. The first thing you see is the new black user interface design, which makes it a bit easier on your eyes when you're working in a darkened environment like your studio, for example. But let's start with 3D media. I grab this 3ds file and drop that into my stage. This is a 3-dimensional structure of a sphere. These 3D structures are usually referred to as a mesh, and that's the term I'm going to use from now on. You see that the 3ds file also appears as a normal media on the timeline, and you can add effects tracks to them, like a rotation track, and I can rotate it around the y-axis. I can view it from the top. I can view it from the top like this, but you see it still just appears as a white circle because it has no texture. And to apply a texture is really simple. You just need to find a texture map. I search in my media window and I have this JPEG image of a map, and I just grab that and drag it onto the stage and drop it onto the 3D file, and you see it wraps perfectly around the mesh. And you can also manipulate the effects in real time on 3D files in exactly the same way as you're used to when you're working with 2D media in WatchOut. And these 3D files and the mesh is what we use when you want to project on a complex 3D geometry. And what I'm talking about is, of course, 3D mapping. So what do you need to create a projection 3D mapping project? Well, first of all, you need a physical object to project on. And in this case, I'm using a printed scale model of our company headquarters back in Sweden, this triangular building that you see here. You need some projectors. You need WatchOut, obviously. And if I move along on my timeline here, I come up to another 3D file called house obj. It's a different file format from the 3ds file I was using before, but it's basically a container of a mesh. So basically it's the same thing for WatchOut point of view. And if I move up to my stage window and the stage menu, I find a new item called a 3D mapping projector. This is a virtual projector, and if I turn that on in my stage window, I select the projector. This virtual projector you can position in the 3D space in the WatchOut stage window. So you see here, if I view that from the top, you will see the yellow target point where it aims at the house model. So you see that looks as it should. And if I open up the view window for the virtual projector, you would see the view of the virtual projector, what it sees. This is how it looks at the 3D model of the house. Now it's time to align your physical projectors. And what you need to do is to place the physical projectors in approximately the right position and aim at the target. I say approximately in the right position because it doesn't have to be exact. Because when we start to do the calibration process, WatchOut will recalculate the position of the virtual projector anyway. So in order to illustrate this, I will move the house itself. So you see now it's out of alignment. Of course, it's the same thing to move the house or to move the projector, but now you can see that the alignment is not perfect anymore. But the projector is still in approximately the right position. It's good enough for the calibration. So I click on the calibration tab in my view window. I make sure that you have edit point selected. Here you need to add at least 6 calibration markers. You can add more, but 6 is usually enough, and Watchout needs 6 points to start the calibration calculation. On this building it's quite easy because you have 6 very well defined corners, but this works on any shape. You just need to find some good markers on different places of your model. You can do this on a car model or any shape. And now I switch from edit point to lineup points, and you will see your calibration marker being projected on the physical object. So I start to select them, and now you just need to move them into the right place on your physical object. You can do this with the you can move these points with the mouse, and you can make fine tuning with the arrow keys. And you would see now when the markers turn yellow, it means that Watchout can actually calculate the position of the model. When they turn red, Watchout is a little bit out of control, but you don't need to worry that much, because sometimes it needs all 6 points to get the position correct. So I add and I move my points anyway, one by one in approximately the right position. And let's see, where do we have this point? There you are. So you should go up on the top far corner there, which I can hardly see, but I'll move it into place. And there it is. And then let's see if the final point will make this happen. So first I need to find it. It's somewhere there. It is. And you could see that it lines up quite nicely. Yeah, I think it's good enough. Of course you can go on and fine-tune this as long as you want, but I'm happy with this. So I close my view window, and now you can continue with your production. And what I would like to do is to apply a different texture to my house based on the same UV map. So instead of the image, I select a movie clip from my media window and drop it on the model. Okay, now I can play that back, and as you see, I can now play this movie file perfectly aligned on the building. And as I'm using Watchout, I can add some sound effects in real time. I just bring in a sound clip, I line that up with the 3D file, and now I play everything back. Projection mapping with sound effects. Let me assure you that there's no easier way to accomplish what I just did. I basically did a projection mapping demo live while you were watching. Well, I have a few things prepared, of course. I have the small printed scale model, I have the 3D files and a few textures to play with. But the calibration part, I did that more or less from scratch. And if you want to add more projectors to this mapping, you just add another 3D mapping projector in Watchout, you do the 6-point marker calibration from that one and another one and another one, and you can even create individual masks for each of the projectors. So this is great both for small mapping projects and large scale shows. The new 3D projector that you have in Watchout version 6 actually has a dual purpose. It can also be used as a virtual camera to visualize your set design. And in order to demonstrate that, I would like to open a different Watchout project, which I have down here. This is a Watchout project for a TV studio. Up here is my stage window. There's a 3D model in there. It looks very flat from the front, but if I look at it from the top, you will see it's actually a 3D model. You can also see that I have a few flying virtual projectors in the stage window. But in this project, I would like to call them cameras, because I'm not using any physical projectors. So I have them named camera 1, camera 2, camera 3. The displays I'm using, it's just 4 displays. I have 3 LED screens on the curved backdrop, and I have an LED strip on the table. That's all I have in terms of display technology in this project. The rest is just static 3D scenography. But of course it's great, because you can show this to your client, you can show them how the set will look like from different angles, you can move around in each of the camera views and look at them from whatever angle that you want. But this scenography can also be used as an active part of your production workflow, because in the 3D model, all the objects have the correct position, the screen sizes matches exactly the native resolution of each screen. For example, the LED strip is just 100 pixels high and 1000 pixels wide in this case, and that is a resolution that you cannot output from the graphics card of the computer. So in WatchOut version 6, we're introducing a new concept that we call virtual displays. And a virtual display can be anything. It can be 100 pixels high and 1000 pixels wide, because the virtual display is mapped onto the real output, which you then feed into the LED wall processor, for example. So this is called pixel mapping. It's nothing new, but it's great in WatchOut because you can keep your real-time workflow and animate media across, in this case over virtual displays, so they look the same on your LED screens. This is a very powerful set of features, but there is even more. On the media front, we can now display streaming video and HTML5 over standard network protocols. We have created a new engine for multi-channel audio and channel routing. We have reduced the latency of live video capture to a minimum. And last but not least, in WatchOut version 6, you can now play uncompressed video and image sequences at full frame rate. So as you can see, WatchOut version 6 is packed with great new features for both existing and new users. And if you want to learn more, I suggest that you visit our website, where you will find more in-depth video tutorials about the new features. Thank you for watching this presentation, and good luck with your show production.